You're on your 4th year of the contract. Can you talk about like maybe what's next?
Yeah.
Or like what the process is like?
So actually it's kind of like a hot topic right now. Kind of went viral the other day because basically I have my last year of my contract. Nothing's guaranteed, meaning they can cut me at any time and they don't owe me anything, right? If you see guys getting guaranteed because you want security with the team that you're in. And so I had 3 years of that and now I just lost that. And so now is the time where, players will go and try to re-up and try to get more security long term. And so we did that and basically kind of just got the door shut and like, hey, we'll offer you this, and it was not a great deal. And then after that, it was a negotiation. It was just take this, or basically now we just don't want to do anything right now.
Why? Why would that be their stance?
Let's go ask. What their stance?
Yeah, because my thought is that if you're a good player, they'd want you to like they wouldn't be afraid unless they're just like hardball, and the negotiations is just a part of it.
So first off, running backs, we are probably the position that offers a ton of value, but there's more liability with our position because we get hurt. We tend to get hurt more. Not saying we all do, but I think I've missed like 8 or 9 games in my 6 years. Most of them in 1 year where I messed up my hamstring pretty bad. So I have a pretty good track record, right? So if you look at an individual case, like, okay, injury's not really a factor of mine. As far as my stats, as far as my contribution to the team, I've led the NFL in touchdowns for the past 2 years. No one scored more than me as far as scrimmage yards. That's like excluding like quarterbacks. And so it's like, okay, I have the peak, right, efficiency and peak production out there. And so for me, I don't know if it's because I'm 27. I don't know what is going on, but I'm like, for me, I don't know why they don't see me in a long-term position. So when they immediately say like, hey, we don't want to talk any extensions anymore, then we immediately ask for a trade. Okay, let's go find someone else so we can maybe go out there and find someone that might be a longer-term partner. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. We're still doing the dance with teams, trying to see where there's value, stuff like that, see if there's a good fit. Yeah. But, if I do have to play this last year with the Chargers, then I'll be a free agent after that. And then I do have a little bit more reign as far as going to find a place to get a long-term contract.
Got it. So their contract they offered you was for another few years, just not at
for 1 year, yeah.
Oh, it was only for 1 year.
One. So, yeah, with no guaranteed in the second year. So it was like...
Can you say what they offered? Or it's probably not a good idea.
Nah, yeah. I shouldn't talk about it just yet anyway. Yeah. But, yeah, so it just wasn't the length that we wanted as far as what I'm still willing to be out here doing, right? Yeah. So... wasn't as enticing. So that's why we, like I said, asked for a trade.
And so if you don't accept, then you play a year.
Correct. So
and then after that, you could renegotiate.
Correct.
But then you're not tied to them. So like the downside is that like you might not have the same leverage as now?
Correct.
Okay,
correct. So basically, okay, let's play on this last year, right? I think I'll make like 6.25. I would have made like 5 something if I didn't hit a bonus, but I've hit my bonus every single year besides the year I got hurt. And so 6.25 this year, not guaranteed. They're probably not going to cut me. If they do, then I'm a free agent and I can go anywhere, which would actually help my scenario. Basically, they're getting a big discount on me right now. They're getting a huge discount. And so they want to leverage that, right? They made a good deal. They bet on me. They won. And so now we played for them for 3 years. And this 4th year, I was trying to re-up and get back to my market value.
Got it.
And so I'll play for them for this last year. If nothing happens, I'm a free agent. And then I can go negotiate with other teams. There is a weird scenario where they actually can franchise tag me, which basically sticks me in a 1-year deal. That I would have to play for them, but they have to pay me it's like the average of the top like 5 or 6 salaries in the position.
Now, how much of an advantage is it to stay on the same team versus transferring? Like, isn't it easier to be with the same team because you know the people already? It's in a well-known city. Like, what value do you usually associate with that, or does it matter?
It's really outside of football value.
Sure.
You know, as far as inside football, really, there's no huge benefit of staying there. There's things that you can do, like if you're trying to break records in the franchise, things like that. Well, obviously, if you're in a different team, you can't do that. But as far as like, I'm on my 2nd head coach there, right? On our 3rd or 4th offensive coordinator. And so people move in and out all the time. So it would be like just doing the same thing, but now you're doing it on a different team. Like you're used to change, you're used to new learning, stuff like that. And so it really comes, like I said, is the outside, like just building a community around stuff, building relationships with ownership, stuff like that, right? And so things like that I really value. Like I love being with the Chargers. I love the people out there. I love being in LA and the place that I'm at. And so I would want to stay there for the rest of my career. But if we had to go somewhere else, I'm gone instantly. If that's what it comes down
play
to.
With the Vegas team.
I could play with the Vegas team.
That would be
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. I could. You know, a couple years, you never know. You really never know. So it's fun. It's fun. It really is. But for the most part, look, I'll have another opportunity to get out there and strap it up and, you know, continue to play at a high level.
Do you think one of the reasons why you've faced so much apprehension throughout your career is because of your size?
Probably.
You think so?
Probably.
Because it seems like even through the scouting process, through college, how you couldn't find D1, even though you killed it in the high school.
Yeah.
Like, do you would attribute most of that just to based off of like what people, they look at you and they come to some sort of conclusion. But of course you've blown away their initial judgment with statistics and
with proof of action, right? I have actionable things of that you can look at and be like, oh yeah, like sure he's small, but this is the output we're getting from him, right? Which is top of the line as far as if you look at the actual numbers. And so when you're making the generalizations about, you know, Austin, and you see him for the first time ever have no background, don't know nothing about this kid. He's a 5'8" kid, you know, from a Division II school. It's a lot of odds going against him that he's probably going to pan out because most guys in my situation get cut. They don't even make the 53, right? Like 90%, maybe even more. And so for the most part, like they had every right to make that generalization about me. But now it's like, now you can't. And I still think people overlook, which makes sense, but people overlook the things you can't measure because the only things you really can talk about and the things that you can compare against other people are what you can measure. But the thing is, like, how have I been able to get to this point in my life with what I'm dealing with my resources, with who I am, right? This 5'8" kid, weight 195. You know, it's like, it's the things, it comes down to my mindset. It comes down to how am I able to apply myself, how I become obsessed, and how I continue to push and make sure that I'm so efficient, right? It's not like I'm not leading the categories of everything, right? So I'm not the best player ever, but guess what? I'm really high in efficiency, right? Scoring touchdowns, moving forward, taking care of the ball, right? I get it done where you're wanting things to get done. And so that's where I've been able to do that, and I've getting more, right? They'll put more on my plate. And so that's why right now I'm kind of like confused, right? With the Chargers, like, why would you not want me around more? You know? And I get it. Like, we're going to have to pay our quarterback $50 million a year.
Wow.
So
now, why the huge pay discrepancy between the quarterback and other people on the team?
Man, quarterbacks are what, you know, are the face of the league.
Yeah.
You know,
they drive the fans, probably driving a lot of the money.
It's almost like the front man of like a band. It's like like the band might be 5 people, but the singer is the one that usually gets all the attention.
It's the face. Yeah. It's the face, you know. As far as their contribution, yes, they do make a bigger contribution. Is it what the pay gap is? Maybe even more. I don't know. Because when you look at the fans, you look at the stands, what are the jerseys you're going to see? You're going to see the quarterbacks, right? You know, we have rules that protect the quarterback. You can barely even touch these guys now, right? And so they can play these, 15, 16-year careers, right? Because their bodies are fine, right? Things like that. And they're so rare to find that can play at a really high level. That's why they're in such a high demand. And so that also drives up the price, right? Because if you can find a good one, having a good one gives you a chance to win a championship, and not, which is really hard to find one, is you don't have a chance.